Waited my whole life for this one. Orthopedic surgeon and husband for The View host Sonny Hostin has been named in a federal lawsuit.
Sonny Hostin, co-host of The View and an advocate for moral justice, is now at the center of a storm that could potentially shake her career to its core. Her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon, has been named in a federal lawsuit accusing him of involvement in one of the largest RICO racketeer-influenced and corrupt organizations cases ever filed in New York. The case alleges that Dr. Hostin, along with nearly 200 other defendants, was part of a massive insurance fraud scheme leading to a jaw-dropping $450 million lawsuit. This scandal has thrown a spotlight on the power couple's personal lives, unmasking a web of deceit and financial turmoil that could unravel their carefully curated public images. The allegations against Dr. Hostin are serious. According to the lawsuit filed by American Transit Insurance, he stands accused of performing unnecessary surgeries, mainly on knees and shoulders, in exchange for kickbacks from insurance companies that service taxi drivers, Uber, and Lyft drivers. These surgeries, some of which may have been completely unnecessary, were billed at exorbitant rates, draining millions from insurance funds. It's a classic con disguised as medical treatment, with the insurance companies left holding the bill for procedures that may not have even taken place. This case isn't just about one surgeon, it's part of a broader pattern of fraud within the healthcare industry, and it's starting to look like something out of a crime thriller. The scope of the case is mind-boggling, involving over 200 people accused of inflating surgery bills to line their pockets. It's a far cry from the noble profession we often imagine doctors to be in. Instead of saving lives, some doctors, like Dr. Hostin, are allegedly exploiting the system for financial gain. As for Sonny Hostin, this scandal could not come at a worse time. Known for her no-nonsense takes on The View, she has spent years lecturing America on morality, inequality, and the failings of the system. Her outspoken advocacy for justice and fairness has made her a beloved figure for many. However, now that the tables have turned and her husband is embroiled in a scandal that could potentially bankrupt them, it's hard to ignore the irony of the situation. How can someone who has built a career on pointing out society's flaws be so blind to the corruption in her own backyard? How will her audience react when they learn that the man she calls her partner is at the heart of such a massive fraud scheme? For Sonny, the response has been a curious mix of silence and avoidance. Despite the gravity of the situation, she has not publicly commented on the lawsuit or the serious charges against her husband. This radio silence is quite unlike the Sonny we've come to know on The View, a woman who is never afraid to speak her mind, no matter how controversial the topic. She's spent years grilling politicians and public figures, but now that the spotlight is on her and her family, she seems to be dodging questions and hoping the scandal will blow over. Her silence is only adding fuel to the fire. As the case progresses and more details emerge, it's clear that the pressure is mounting on her. The public expects answers, but all they've gotten so far are carefully crafted appearances and polite smiles. It's hard to believe that Sonny didn't know about her husband's alleged activities, but it's even harder to imagine that she wasn't at least aware of the risks involved in such high-stakes dealings. She may have been busy making a name for herself as a sharp political commentator, but she couldn't have been completely unaware of what was going on behind closed doors. The irony of the situation cannot be overlooked. For years, Sonny Hostin has been a vocal critic of the healthcare system, often discussing its flaws on The View and pointing out the ways in which it fails the American public. She's highlighted the struggles of marginalized communities, calling out insurance companies and healthcare providers for their greed and lack of compassion. But now it appears that her own husband may have been part of a system that exploited those very same flaws for financial gain. This isn't just another political scandal. This is a story about the healthcare system in the United States, a system where profits often outweigh patient care, and where doctors can become more focused on billing than actually helping their patients. It's a reflection of a broken system, one that enables corruption to flourish under the guise of medical expertise. And now, Sunny Hostin finds herself caught up in the very thing she's spent years criticizing. Dr. Hostin's legal defense has been just as theatrical as the allegations themselves. His lawyer, Daniel, has denied the accusations, calling the lawsuit baseless and claiming that it's just a desperate move by an insurance company facing bankruptcy. This defense is typical of high-profile legal cases where the accused often try to flip the script and accuse their accusers of wrongdoing. In this case, Dr. Hostin's legal team is portraying the lawsuit as an attempt by a financially struggling company to strong-arm doctors and slash healthcare benefits. But this argument doesn't seem to be sticking. The details of the case are too damning. The evidence of fraudulent surgeries and kickbacks is mounting, and it's difficult for the public to ignore the gravity of the situation. Even if Dr. Hostin manages to avoid conviction, the damage to his reputation may be irreparable. And for Sunny Hostin, the fallout from this case could be just as damaging. She's built a career on being the moral compass of The View, but now her credibility is being called into question. How can she continue to preach about justice and fairness when her own family is caught up in a massive fraud case? The situation is only getting more complicated. As the lawsuit drags on, new details continue to emerge. The case has already been dubbed one of the largest RICO cases in New York's history, surpassing even the infamous mafia trials. The magnitude of the alleged fraud is staggering, and it's unclear how many other doctors, hospitals, and insurance companies are involved in this sprawling scheme. The public has been gripped by the story, and the media is only too eager to report on every new development. Meanwhile, Sunny Hostin's silence is becoming harder to ignore. She's been in the spotlight for years, but this is a different kind of attention. The public is no longer focusing on her political opinions or her sharp commentary. They're now questioning her integrity and her role in the scandal. Can she continue to play the role of the righteous crusader for justice, or is she simply hoping this all blows over without too much damage to her brand? As the case moves forward, it's clear that Sunny Hostin and her husband are facing a legal and financial nightmare. The stakes are high, and the consequences could be devastating. The scandal is starting to look like something out of a soap opera, with each new twist and turn making it harder to predict what will happen next. Will Dr. Hostin be found guilty of the charges, or will he manage to wriggle free from the legal web that's closing in on him? And for Sunny Hostin, can her career survive this scandal, or will she be forced to reckon with the moral contradictions at the heart of her personal and professional life? One thing is for sure, the drama surrounding Sunny Hostin and her husband is far from over. As the case continues to unfold, the public will be watching closely, waiting for the next bombshell to drop. For now, all Sunny can do is sit back, sip her coffee, and hope that the courtroom chaos doesn't bring down her carefully crafted public image. But with every passing day, it's becoming more and more difficult to ignore the swirling storm that could potentially tear apart the lives of one of television's most prominent power couples.